Okay, I'm getting my timer started. So let's see. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm Shelley Golden, and I'm part of the board. And I am a personal branding image consultant and a fashion stylist. And what I've kind of come up with, since I'm not helping people look good in person, that I am now helping people look good online in the box, as I'm calling this, in the box. So this presentation, let me just start my 10 minutes here so I can see, otherwise I can't see. I'm going to talk about a couple different things of how to help you look good on Zoom is really what I'm aiming for. And so we're going to try to help you up level your screen presence. And we're going to talk about a couple different topics. So the first thing you really want to, oh, you know what, let me do start from play. Sorry about that. Okay, so how do you want to show up in the morning? Is really kind of the first thing you need to ask yourself. You know, who am I meeting today? Who do I have appointments with? How professional do you need to be? How put together do you need to be? Can you be a little more disheveled? Of course, it's always from kind of the armpits up. So whatever you wear on the bottom, we're good. But this is kind of the first thing you want to think about when you're, before you get yourself ready to sit in front of your computer. So when I'm working with people, the first thing I talk about is the lighting. You really want good lighting. You want the lighting to come from the front. Ideally, if you had a window in front of you, that would be great, because what you want is you want the lighting to be equal left and right. And the whole basics, the whole premise of this is that you're not distracting. You don't want the light coming in from a side window, because then half your face will be lit, half your face will be from in the dark. If you have lights around you, you know, you need to tweak them. Ideally, if you have a 10 o'clock and a 2 o'clock, that would be the ideal lighting. Because if you have glasses on, quite often if the light is directly in front of you, you're going to have reflections in your glasses. So here's just an example. I have a lot of examples here for you today. Here's an example of, needless to say, someone who's in the dark, way too close to her screen and backlit. She has a chandelier and a lamp, and that's why she's in the dark, even though it's bright daylight outside. So I actually had advised her turn off the chandelier, and we tweaked the position of the lamps. Here's another woman who is looking so blue from her screen. And so this woman, I didn't actually have to advise her, but really what she needed to do is bring in some warmer lighting to warm up her skin. So this is really important. So 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I have a couple of tricks to help you change the lighting. Sometimes you might need to put some fabric over a window, over a lamp. This is a little tip that I have. This is my lamp that I've put pink and yellow Post-its on to diffuse the light and actually change the color of my skin. So I actually have my little pink Post-it here, and the part that you see on the right is not the lamp. There's no light coming through that right-hand side. So I've just diffused the light to give myself a peachier skin color. Even if you have darker skin, you can warm up and change the skin color, whether you put a scarf over or a piece of fabric, just to change the light. The next thing I'd like to talk about is background. You really don't want a super distracting background. I have some examples of some distracting backgrounds and some desirable backgrounds. You want it to be relatively neutral. You don't want such a high contrast that people are distracted with the background. Actually, lower contrast or neutral is softer on the eye. I often say that I'm painting a painting because it's actually a two-dimensional screen, and we have to create foreground, midground, background, just like a beautiful painting, so that it's pleasing to the person looking at you. So in terms of like the camera angle, you don't really want to look at a ceiling. You know, you don't want to be looking up people's noses. You don't need to see how many chins they have, and you really don't want to see the ceiling. This was just kind of a simple shot that I took. I actually made a little video, but it's a really clean background. Just kind of simple. Maybe the flowers are a little bit too big and I find a little bit distracting, but it's clean and simple. The light was, I was looking at a window. The light is directly on my face, so the light is balanced left and right. This was a screenshot of somebody, and I felt that this worked really well. So we could see her face very clearly. The background is actually soft. There's a lot, kind of when painters are painting, they often have lines of perspective, and so you have the lampshade at the top, this mirror behind her, and some frames on the counter behind her that are all non-distracting, but it's like a nice line. I normally do not suggest wearing black or white, but she's wearing black, but it's not distracting, and her face is showing up, and that's what you want. You want people to look at your face. At our meeting last week, or last month, I took screenshots. Here's Ulrika. Personally, I find the background just a little distracting because I'm looking at the wall calendar, and Ulrika, every time I'm like, is that your marketing calendar? I don't know if it is. And I think the lighting is great. The positioning is great. I love the yellow background, but sometimes I find there's just a few too many things on the walls that I'm looking at going, I wonder what that is. So you just want to keep things very simple. This was a woman I was working with, and we were in the process of, and she's partially blind, so she has a difficult time with light, but we closed the blinds. This is just an example of things that I moved around. You could see me on the top actually just taking a picture with my camera. We closed the blinds and angled them up to the ceiling, so the camera is not looking into the blinds. The blinds are angled up to the ceiling. We brought a little softness in. We moved the plants from out of view into view. We also stood up afterwards. She stood up all the books vertically, so there weren't books horizontally and vertically to be distracting. It was just more of a softer line. And behind her on the wall, there was a painting that had a piece of glass on it that was reflecting the light. And so, oops, what's my time here? I think I have 2 minutes. All right, so I would stay away from black and white. My suggestion is to wear solid colors. Doesn't really matter what color, but solid colors are best. That's my suggestion. I'd stay away from prints, especially this is kind of busy prints, and you don't know, how close people are and how they feel about the prints. And this is also a bit of a funky colored back wall. I would makeup. For women, you need a little extra makeup at this time. You need to create a three-dimensionality to your face because it's a two-dimensional surface. Your chin goes into your neck and your cheeks look flat. So you might need a little more makeup, more lipstick, more blush, just to create the illusion of dimension. Here are a couple of before and afters I wanted to show you that I've been working with my clients on, just to create something more pleasing to the eye. We've created colors. Even the orchid actually has a black t-shirt around it because the color didn't quite work. And this is Wendy Nog, one of our members, and she was a little worried about her neck, so we added a scarf so that the eye goes a little wider than the center of her face. So this is all a little bit balanced. We covered some furniture and a piano that didn't work. And this was another before and after makeover that I did as well. Again, this woman was very backlit. So we actually covered the window. Luck had it, she happened to have an extra painting in her storage space that fit perfectly in the window frame. And we took the leather chair behind her, moved it over, and upholstered it with the backside of a duvet cover and threw on a pillow that worked. And so changed the camera angle, and you could see her skin tone looks more natural. And so these are just some ideas that you can do to help you look more pleasing online. And if you have any questions, feel free. I'm going to put my contact info in the chat if anybody's interested. And that's it. I'm Shelley Golden. Thank you so much.